going on, guys? I'm back again with another video. I wanted to do a follow-up one to explain a lot more of the ins and outs and like best use cases of my new product Shift, which is a set of diopters. I've been getting a lot of questions on just like when I would use these, how they're being used, the minimum focus distancing, all that stuff. And so I figured it'd be nice to do some more examples on anamorphic lenses, spherical lenses, comparison of a macro lens, and just kind of everything in between. So we'll kind of get into this nerdier breakdown now, just of stuff around the office. And I apologize if there's going to be any noise above me. We got some construction going on around the office, but this is kind of the only free day I was able to actually sit down and organize how I wanted to say this and the examples I wanted to use, and just give more insight onto how I use these and just the versatility of it all. Because some people that I'm seeing are just getting a lot of different like fun feedback on is people are mainly using them for like very tight +8 macro shots, which is great, but that's not entirely how I use these diopters, and nor should you. All in all, there's 3 strengths in here for a reason. So I want to kind of break down how I use them, both just for photography and then of course just like filmmaking. So first up, we're probably just going to I'm going to use my Komodo X in like a 28-70, and I'll use a reference both on myself and on some kind of like innate objects, just so you can kind of see some side-by-side comparisons, what the chromatic aberration's doing, what it's not doing, how clean it is, and just kind of break it down from there. So like I said, we're gonna start with more spherical glass, meaning like stuff I would use for photography, like RF glass on the red, things like that. They don't have a ton of character, so you can see how sharp it stays. And then we'll move on to anamorphic after that. Some side-by-sides of an actual macro lens that I've used. You can see the diopters versus the macro lens, and then just kind of have like an overview of all of them together. So let's do it. Okay, so starting out with the 28-70 on the Komodo, I'm just gonna show you what the normal range, the minimum focus distancing, like I said, is where these come into play. So once I can only get as close as I possibly can, then I need to throw on a diopter. So by no means does a diopter change going from 28 to 70 to go from like 50 to 150. Like that doesn't exist. All it's doing is that small range at the end, just like you can see this goes that much, it's gonna change your distancing that much. So I'll show you just an example as we use this. So it's by no means is it gonna replace an actual zoom lens or give you more compression to something, but I will break down kind of why wider focal lengths have a nicer touch with these versus more like compressed, like a 70, 100 or like 200. That's just gonna get you very close and kind of make the scene just disappear behind you. So anyway, we're gonna start out with just what this normally looks like, and then I'll put a +2 on there. This is as close focus as I can get at 28, okay? So I come here, you can see, this is as close as I can get. Now, 70, okay, same thing. All right, that is as close as I can possibly get. But as you can see on this lens, obviously, the 28 looks much different than the 70, obviously. Now, when we throw a diopter on, you'll see how this specific scene changes. So 28, okay, 70. All right, so I'm gonna start with a +2 for this one. We got the 28-70. I got a polarizer in the front. So one thing is you can actually screw these in on top of a polarizer, a circular polarizer. You can't stack them on an actual V&D because of the way they spins, and like the inside to outside threads won't work. But you can stack them on normal NDs, which you'll see later when I put them on like the Blazars or something like that. But you can put it on a normal CP, and so that works out nice. Throw in the +2 on. All right, now, blurry, okay? Coming up here. This is now, make sure I get my minimum. With the +2, this is as close as I can focus. I'm gonna make sure my polarizer's still on. This is as close as I can focus, and this is at 28, so it honestly looks as if I was at 70, but now I go to 70, look how much closer I can get with this. This offers a very different composition, right? And I will say I'm at 2.8. If you guys were gonna go to f5, stuff like that, more and more is going to be in focus, obviously. But something like this is very nice, just like the +2. So again, I'm not using a +8. A lot of people think that that's all you use, or it's all about getting macro shots. That's definitely not the use case for everything, right? That's a very unique position in which you would want to use that. But for me, a +2 and like a +4 for this lens might be all I need to use. And it's all specific on the scene, what you're trying to get in your story, how you want to alternate shots, blah, blah, blah. So, all right, so you can kind of see the difference here. Okay, I'm gonna throw a +4 on, you can really see. This is my minimum here, and I'll go back and show you guys after this what the +2, +4, and +8 looked different wise on this. But again, this is at 28 on here, okay? Now if I go to 70, I gotta back this up a tiny bit, boom, right in there. So again, this is quite a bit of detail. You're getting that fall off over here on this subject. This is already probably as close as I'd actually want to be, given the scenario that I'm in. Though I'm using these innate objects on my desk, I'm just trying to show you the difference as these step up. So again, 28's back here. If I wanted to compose a scene, maybe have something up here, or I'd like bring this a little bit closer, which is kind of fun. And I need to refocus right there. But yeah, see, if I bring my camera back, look, this is my close focus range. This is my far focus range. I can now adjust again back here. So see, I'm not tied to using my camera really up close, but I can't necessarily use the lens as if I didn't have the diopter on, and I can kind of zoom in and out, shoot the buildings back here, shoot the street down here. But it does give you still a lot of play in what your 28 to 70 range is. So backing up, as you can see in this frame, this is 28 and I have a +4 on, and then this is 70. So I even backed up and was still able to reframe. So again, if I were to back up, there's only so much you can do before you have to get closer again, but I'll back up to 2 and I'm out of range. So then I have to scoot a little bit closer and I'm back in range. So hopefully that was helpful, where just because you have this on doesn't mean you have to get really, really close shots. It just gives you variability in what you're using. So again, that 28 to 70 range, that's a very huge gap. Now I've been able to get kind of here, 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 and then further and further back. I'm gonna throw on the +8 and then show you obviously the difference in that one. To be honest, guys, a lot of times I'm not really even threading this on. I'm just holding it up to the glass, depending on the shot that you need. Okay, so for this one, obviously I need to get quite a bit closer for this range. And again, I'm gonna have 2 separate ranges, one at 28, one at 70. So, all right in here. This is at 28. This looked like it was this kind of looks like the similar frame that was 70 with the +4. Now we're at +8, the 28 looks like 70 and vice versa. All right, so this one, now I'm gonna punch it to 70. Big difference. Now we're in very much that macro-esque looking stage, but just with the same lens. Now you can see this nice fall off kind of on the edge of here and over here. It has very, very clean chromatic aberration, whereas a lot of cheaper diopters and stuff like that kind of get very fuzzy. They soften the footage, everything else. One thing I like to do if I do have the +8 on is in post, I will actually use the lens distortion plugin that helps unwarp some of the footage, so to kind of just flatten it back out again, because inherently using this piece of glass, how it concaves a bit right here, it's gonna pull, because this is a mirror, it's gonna pull your edges out a little bit. So in post, I like to push them back in to give that normal shot. Especially, like for instance, in that hero video, Anthony, who was our barista, that shot of him using the coffee bean that was up to his eye, inherently at the 8, it could stretch his forehead, right? Because of the way it's magnifying. So in post, I just needed to de-warp that a little bit back to normal. No one ever noticed. Now that's just the science of glass in general. So again, just going back to this 28 range, that is what I can get at 28. This is what I can get at 70 in refocus. Now, your play to kind of scramble back and forth doesn't really exist with a +8 on. And what I mean by play is I can scoot forward and backward and still have some zoom range and focus range on a +2. I'll have a little bit less on a +4, and then I'll have even less on a +8. So that being said, this is why I wanted to have these examples. And I hope this is simplified, and it can be complicated to listen to, but just practice with your own glass, what you're doing and everything in between, and it makes perfect sense once you have one on. This is inherently the close focus at 28 with the red. And so a +2 is gonna get you a little bit closer, and then of course a +4 and +8 is gonna get you very, very close. We're gonna throw on a +2 because this is kind of what you see if you're using this angle and you wanna maybe shoot an interview or something like that. I don't think that you would probably use these in an interview or those scenario. I just wanted to use a human element besides an innate object, just for an example. All right. So now you can see how much closer you can get. This is still at 28, so I'll switch to 70 here in a second, but you can see at 28, it adds a little bit more dimension. You're able to still utilize the same lens while getting a kind of different perspective, especially once we switch. We'll go in here. Just if we really only wanted to see my mustache and we're talking about this, this, and this, and how this stays in focus, blah, blah, blah. This is nice to have just if, I don't know, you wanted to have a close-up of this and your lens per se, maybe it's not as good as this RF glass, but you needed something that was a little bit better, a little bit closer, things like that. This definitely helps on budget-friendly glass that doesn't have close focusing, so. Bingo. So I switched up, I put the 15 to 35 on, as you can see right here, because I wanted to explain on a bit wider angle, once you go +2, +4, obviously +8, wider angles are going to create more chromatic aberration or distortion on the sides. It can also offer a much more unique look, given if you need a wider scene to help punch in, because it does create a sense of depth, obviously because it's magnifying, but it's always to your liking and as much character as you want or don't want. So I wanted to show like a wider range of like what that 15 to 35 looks like. On here, it's gonna be more like a 20-ish, 23, but still really nice because these actually have very close focusing distances, because we're gonna start from there and kind of make our way back, because anamorphics inherently don't have that great of close focus until you get on the higher end lenses, but even those have specific spots. So anyway, I'm gonna kind of break this down. On another note, I gave away all my 82s and shift, so I'm just gonna use this 95. Some people get a question of like, does it affect the glass if the lens is too small or vice versa? If this is bigger than your glass, you're just not gonna have as much character on the outside, but that could be a good thing for you or a bad thing if you don't like that. But it's not gonna take away. Now, if you had a big gap between your glass and this, then obviously it's gonna play a huge part in what this looks like. It might not be able to focus. You can also use autofocus through diopters for photos. It's very simple. People have asked me that, and or video as well. So anyway, I wanna show what this is. Half the time I'm not even threading these on like I said earlier. I'm holding them up to get my shot, boom, right back in the pouch. So kind of gonna do that with this one. So this is the closest focus at 15 on the RF. Then I'm gonna do, what do I got here? I got the +4. So I'm gonna kind of, let's see, so this is 15. Then close 15 would be somewhere in there at a +4. So again, it brings in that scene a little bit. You can see the edges, how that kind of like distorts around there a bit, but it's a nice touch. I think the +4 is kind of in that money range. Now, we're gonna go to 35, which is gonna be closer to like 50. I'm gonna back this up, because I have it at infinity. Where are we at? Where are we at? That's right here at 35. Now, so this is going to be at 35. Then it's going to be even closer. So yeah, quite a bit different. Even then I'll have to back it up just a tiny bit. You can kind of see it in there. So again, for a wide angle lens, nice look around here. Depending on how maybe you wanted to have focus here on the top, I think this is kind of nice, just like that, but you still get so much room in your scene. Whereas once you're going here, obviously this is a nice shot, right? But then I'm punched here with the +4. This is a very different shot, kind of holding this up so you can see. So even more of like that macro-esque look. Okay. All right. And that was just using a +4. So +2 would be minimal behind that. +8, I'll show you at very wide glass. So we're gonna go right here. Let's start at 15. Where's our minimum focusing? Somewhere in here. On goes +8. Somewhere right in there, you can see that. So again, that +8 really draws in your scene and hones you into what this lid is right here. So quite a bit of distortion, but in a clean way, right? It's not warping anything. So it's not gonna distract you too much from your actual scene and what you're filming. Now, if I go to 35, let's see, make sure I'm still at close, yep. This right here with the +8, obviously you have no scene left, but you're strictly just focusing on this product right here. So again, it's very use case, right? This is gonna completely minimize your surroundings. +8 at 15, you're still gonna have some of your surroundings in it. So a little bit more texture to your shot, stuff like that. So +4 is gonna not have as much drama. +8 has the most drama. +2 is gonna be very minimal drama. So I think these are all very key in showcasing like how you can use them. You don't always have to stick to one, and play around with what's gonna work with your scene. So again, +8's like very drastic. I typically range in that +2, +4, but again, +8 still looks really nice right in here, especially at 15. That wraps up the spherical lenses. You could go in depth with like a regular 35, a manually focused like Zeiss, whatever. I'm not gonna do all that. I'll leave that up to everybody else, but I did wanna show you just some different ranges there. 72 to 200 is no different. It's like you're just getting so much compression to a ton of compression to like just completely dissolving the scene. But you know what, while we're at it, let's add the 70 to 200 in the mix and I'll show you what that looks like. Starting on the 70 to 200, I'm gonna show you what this looks like. So at 70 mil, go ahead and hit record. At 70 mil, this is our close focusing distance right here. So obviously there's this gap, have this nice frame. And then if I'm gonna punch into, let's say 200, I gotta scoot it back because these aren't necessarily parfocal lenses, probably right in there in that range. So that's what that looks like. Okay, so you get a lot of texture from my mouse right there. So again, that's 70 and that is 200. So we're gonna use the +2 first. Pop this on there. So the +2, what do we got? I can still focus right here just fine with the +2 on. Didn't even move my camera, but I am able to, if I wanted to, get even closer with the 70. I could get, see how close I can get, just a +2. I'm still getting focus here. Okay, right there. So that makes a huge difference just with the +2. And so that scene's gonna look a little bit different than if I had the 200. So now at 200 with the +2, it's like, all right, we're super punched in. Obviously this scene is just like completely disappearing behind us. But if that's the goal that you want, then you're getting it. So I'm at 2.8. So again, things can be inherently soft sometimes. But I think this looks like it's nice, right? And this is just a +2 at 200 mil. So this could give you the same look that you need with a 100mm macro, but I'll show that difference and how those lenses are specifically different than just using diopters, but there's a convenience factor by having diopters versus carrying that lens around. So anyway, this is what that looks like with just a +2. So this is about as close as you would need, specifically depending on what the scene you're trying to accomplish. I'm gonna switch to just to go through it, I'll do a +4 and then we'll do a +8 just for the hell of it. So that's the +2 daddy. The old +4 on here. All right, so at 70, I can get very, very close. Could probably get, I'm curious how close I could get. Yep, still chilling. Still chilling. And we're maxed out. All right, so right in there. Really nice frame. Again, everything's just kind of disappeared behind it. This is at 70 versus this is kind of what it looked like at 200 with the +2. The 70 at +4 looks like that. So now let's go to 200. You kind of see how this stair steps as you progress. All right, so we are really up in it now. Wow. Okay. So this is just with the +4 on at 200. You can see like there's some nice chromatic aberration. It's a little bit soft for me in my taste. I'd rather, like, let me see what I can do if you'd probably have to stop down a little bit. I'm not gonna change my settings, but if you stop down a bit, you don't get as much of that like haze coming in just through the glass, because these things do react differently to each and every different manufacturing glass, focal lengths in that glass, how they reflect and refract light, the color science between the lenses, the coating on the lenses, the internal mechanics of the lenses, and autofocus, is it manual, the heavy dynamics of each lens, what your sensor's like, reading how much light's coming through there. There's a whole different gambit. Now, this one, what I'm talking about right here, this is very, very close. To throw a +8 on here at 200 mil is kind of insane. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that for you here in a second, but I'd be very happy with how close I am with this. Now, this shot is whatever, but I'm just showing you for the example. All right, so now to put on this behemoth. Let's start at 70, which is like insane. I'm just gonna do the cap. So at 70, that's where we're at with the cap. This is insane to have this on a 7200 right there, but I can focus, yep, about right there. So pretty nuts to have it on the cap right there. After that, let's go to 200. Absolutely nukes whatever scene we were looking for. Let's see, I gotta back this up now. Whoa, I gotta find focus. Where are we at? All right, let's do it on the letters right here. Okay. So see, again, this is where I'd want a polarizer on, and or, you know, use proper lighting and neg fill, whatever you want over here. But you can see, if I cover up some of this, I would cover up this flare that's hitting right here in this glass, but you can see how soft it actually makes it at 200, and like with the +8, it's kind of insane. I would just stop down to a different lens and get a better shot. Granted, I'm not really composing this shot that much. I'm just showing you for an example. Let's pan over here to some of the glass. I just don't know that I would ever use this at 200 with a +8. Just kind of seems insane. I can't even find half the stuff I'm trying to focus right here. Maybe let's try this. How are we looking here? Okay, so you can kind of see the blades on here. And then I'm gonna actually, I would stop down. This is like 6.3. Kind of insane, but you can do it. I think that's a very, very unique look. Don't super recommend that, but you're not closed off to it, which is nice, because I would just go up to like f6 and up, and you're gonna get a much sharper image, and letting that light in. So you just kind of adjust your settings. So that is what it looks like on the 7200. And I think you're honestly set between like 70 to 100 using +2, +4, and +8, because 200, you might want the only effect you need at 200 with a +2, and you don't have to work your way all the way up. So anyway, it's kind of let your creative decisions aside, and we'll kind of go from there. Moving on to anamorphics. Like I said, with the spherical glass, very use case, right? There's gonna be stuff I like, don't like when I use specific lenses, but you'll get to see what makes sense for you and why. To be like, yeah, +4 is gonna be perfect here, +8 would be ideal here on this lens, like a 50. With a +8, you're probably gonna get the closest to what you'd have as like a normal 100mm macro lens, and that could be like your money setup. Or you're like, actually wanna have more of the scene, +4 on a 35, money. So again, very, very different kind of ways you can go about it, and so many just different setups, and whatever's gonna work for you is why we developed them. So moving on to anamorphics, I wanna show what you can do. I love to have like a wider anamorphic and use the diopters to kind of shift my perspective per se on what my scene looks like. Inherently a 65 on here is gonna be, it's gonna give you a little bit more of that compression to look more like a 45-50, whereas the 35, Super 35 is gonna be more like a 20 on here. And so for the drama, I can show you what those look like, but we'll do like a shot-by-shot comparison and kind of go from there. So we'll start with the 35. Okay, so we are moving on to anamorphic. Now, like I said, anamorphics are inherently bad at close focusing, and a lot of DPs and filmmakers use diopters for this specific reason, and other glass that they're using. If it's like older Zeiss glass or certain just character elements they want to implement into the shots, the way they're storytelling, how these pieces come together, evoking emotion, blah, blah, blah. Kind of show you close focus on this 35 is right here. Look how massive this gap is. Now, I'm gonna start recording here. You can see this is as close as I can get to this Blazar other lens right there. Now, I'm gonna use the +2. What do we got? +2 on here, okay. You can instantly get a better scene. So let's see how close I can focus here. All right, now we're looking good. That looks really nice. Okay, so see, I still have my play and how I want to focus. I don't have to keep it at infinity focus and then just move back and forth. I can get some range in here and play. So let's see, I can move it a little bit further away from me and still focus. Right in there looks really nice. I can kind of play with some foreground elements here. Again, this scene is already really nicely shaped just by a +2 that adds some dynamics and allows me to still have this scene closer to me without distorting too much and without having to switch lenses. And be like, I still want to show a lot of this scene, but I don't want to have to like back further up. I would still like to be intimate, but then I can't switch to a 65 because maybe you only have this lens. So again, really, really nice. I'll go to the minimum focusing distance. So let's go, that is there. I'll bring this bad boy here. So about right there, okay? Now we're gonna take this off. I'll show you kind of a before and after. All right, so that's not nearly gonna cut it. Bingo, much nicer. And again, like you've seen some of my videos with the flares, the sun's coming in or light's hitting, it will then magnify those flares a bit and creates a more unique look and kind of almost mimics a lot more higher end glass. So it can mimic some of the kind of Cook flares to some of the Mercury flares, just kind of depends, and it's luck, to be honest. But I do love that, like inherently these Blazars are gonna be like kind of stringy, anamorphic flares. Once you have that +2, +4, it's very, very nice. I'll use my phone as a reference for you. All right, so let's see. All right, put this on right in here. So again, you can kind of see it's just one line of flares. Boom. Look at the shapes that it creates over here. So there's that same line, but look how pretty this is. Much more cinematic. God, I hate people use that word all the time. But for instance, this is it just looks more dynamic, right? It's more enriched versus not, I mean, they're kind of all straight lines there. Even if I was in the focus range, like per se, it's not nearly as nice. Whereas like right here is awesome. So let's move on to the +4 real quick. All right. Okay. All right, so +4, baby. Now we're chilling. So this almost looks similar to what a 65 might look like, and we haven't switched lenses. So that to me, in and of itself, I mean, it explains, I really don't need to explain this stuff, but I'm going to in this video just because, but they speak for themselves. When you show these before and afters, what this looks like, but this frame right here is beautiful. And I haven't switched lenses, just using the +4. Now again, I have a little bit of play in my focusing, not as much as in that +2, but the +4 still got some, and of course that +8, you don't have a ton. So +4, still really beautiful, allows me to just like say I'm trying to highlight the product of this Blazar. Look how nice that is in this +4, okay? And then I'm gonna take this off just to remind you how ass the close focus is on this. And we're back to whatever that is, so we gotta go, where are we at? Okay, that's our close focus, okay? And it's already out, yep. So we're gonna go back to here. This bad boy back on. Look how nice that is. Beautiful. Even with your hands in here, you can see that. So really kind of show you before and after real quick with the +4. Okay, and money. All right, moving on to the +8, and that will wrap that up. +8, as you can see, very, very different look. Still so unique and beautiful. Love it on anamorphics because it just shows a ton of character. Again, on a wider lens, look how much, obviously there's so much in this scene. It closes it out, but it still showcases quite a bit, right? So I'm not stopping down to like an 85 mil where I lose all my desk. I can still get some bokeh back there. And again, let's test out these flares on the +8. Let's see, where are we at? Yes, beautiful, right? Very dynamic. Could be too much in specific stuff, so you might want to stop it in areas, but it definitely offers a really unique look with the +8. Whereas again, this is what they normally look like. And this is what it looks like with the +8. Like you can get some pretty dynamic stuff in there. So anyway, again, a lot less play with the +8. You can kind of see how the background is shifting a little bit in and out. I can only get to about right there. So that's about as much play as you have, but I'm just kind of holding this up. If you need to get more product-based stuff, like again, you can get quite a bit closer. And this is just sticking with 35, so kind of incredible. I will put the 65 on, show you that. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, so we are now on the minimum focus distancing on the 65 mil Blazar. So you can see the scene's a little bit more compressed, not as wide, blah, blah, blah. This is the minimum focusing distance. So again, I had to back this up. Obviously, as you get more compressed lenses, they inherently have to get a little bit further back. But that's what that looks like. In and of itself, I cannot get any closer. I'm pretty much capped right there. So I'm gonna do let's start with the +2 on this bad boy and see what it gets us. All right, we got +2. Where are we at, baby? Wow, you can actually get way closer, and then I'll have a little bit of play. So I'll back my focus up. That's my maximum focusing distance, FYI. That's what I was trying to tell you, between the play of how far can I focus out, how close can I focus in. That's the play I'm talking about. So I have quite a bit more with a wider angle lens. Now I'm at 65, a little bit different. And again, you just lose it as you go +2, +4, +8. So that is as far away as this could go now with the +2 on. Then this is as close as I could get it with the +2. So really nice. Again, the flares are gonna look different on this 65, really pretty. So not as like liney because you do have some compression with this lens, but absolutely beautiful. See, that can be a bit much, but still really unique. Very, very pretty. So I'll kind of show you with and without. Come on, baby. All right. So normal flare, a little bit liney. Boom. Very, very dynamic. So, all right, let's move on to +4. All right, so again, this is gonna reduce that play. So I won't be able to focus further back as much. Let's see where that's at. Go to my maximum focusing, which is right there, okay? Then this is as far away as I can focus. Now I'm gonna get as close as I can focus. And that's gonna be in here. So again, very, very nice, very macro-esque, still showing more of the scene. So again, when I compare the macro lens, very punched in, very different look, ultra, ultra, ultra sharp, but gotta carry that lens around, only has that one specific look. This you can completely mix and match however you want. So really, really beautiful. Love the light hitting through here, by the way. And that is what that looks like. So we're gonna move on to the +8 real quick. All right, so get real nasty with it. I'm gonna throw on this +8. This is probably gonna really get toasty. Let's see. So again, let me go to my play where this is the furthest away I could focus. All right, that's what that looks like with the +8. And then with as close as I can focus in, it's gonna be right, let me move this down a little bit, right in there. So again, still really pretty. Very, very nice looking. I think this image still works very well. Depending on what you're shooting, again, if I was gonna try to maybe like show these like rotating, like that looks really nice, right? Forgive me, my hands are shaking. This rotating looks really nice. So stuff like that, but then a +4 might be all you need, right? You might not need to go this close, but then you can also crop in on post. Again, let's see some of these flares in here to keep that same consistency. So again, really pretty. Sorry, let me get this back in focus for you. Nice. I love the way those look. Could even act as nice transitional elements if you're into that stuff, but all right. So again, +8, still a really, really nice look. And I'm gonna just take this off and show as close focus as I could. So that is infinite. This is as close focus as I could possibly be. You can see it's probably right in there. +8. Insane. So again, close focus is probably right there. Incredible. So, all right, baby. Those are some great before and afters. Now I'm gonna show you a little bit of what an actual macro lens looks like, and then I'll kind of put all these side by side and kind of go from there. Now we are gonna be locked into using an actual proper 100mm macro lens. I've only ever used them on Sony as well as like a 90mm, 100mm, I think there's like a 50mm. I will show you an example after this of the Surays that I have that are very, very heavy, but they are macro lenses. There's like a 25, 35, and 50, but very, very heavy and a very specific look. And it's like, do I want to carry all those around or do I want to use diopters? So anyway, now, given that this 100, ultimately I have the same settings. There's about 1 minute that's passed between I've used the Blazar example to this, and this already needs way more light. So I'm gonna have to bump up my ISO. One sec, I'm gonna have to bump that up. I'm gonna try to go I'm at 4.5. I'll go down as much as I can to 2.8, but again, inherently sometimes a 2.8 can be tough to nail focus. We've all tried. Some are better than others. But again, this is at, what is nice about a macro lens specifically, though, is you can use it as a normal lens, right? And like use it, like this one is 100 mil, so I can use it as a different compressed lens, could be an interview lens, blah, blah, blah. So you do have those reasons why you would have this lens. I mean, obviously they're like 1,500 bucks and up. There has to be a use case. It's not for just close focusing. So there are amazing lenses that you can get that you need that use for. And you might only want to use this for a specific project. So diopters might not make sense if you're only using the one lens that you want. But again, you're only stuck to this one focal length. So like what I had mentioned, if you want the wide angle shots with some closer focus, that's not going to be possible with this. So I'll kind of show you some examples. Again, using this Blazar right here. This is very, very sharp. This is, I don't know how close I can get. This is kind of probably, you can start from way back there, but I'll go up to like an extreme and go very, very close. Okay, I'm gonna keep cranking in and see how close I can get. I'll go to my minimum. I think, let's see. I think that is maxing out. Right in there. So very, very impressive, obviously, to have this lens. Now, it doesn't have the chromatic aberration. It doesn't have the fall off, those things, because these things are built specifically to not have that, hence why you're paying so much money for them. But you do get a nice versatile look in these because you do have basically a +2 all the way to probably a +10. But I did want to show you the before and afters. This isn't to not push you to use diopters. I just wanted to show that if you don't have a proper macro lens that is stuck at that one focal length, what your options are. Now, if you do have a macro lens, amazing. These can be used for all kinds of things, but the diopters can be used on any lens, so, which this can. But I just wanted to kind of show you those examples. Again, I can kind of back this off. This has a nice look. Again, very, very distinctive looks, but these are going to be quite a bit sharper because, again, this is built for this. These are autofocus lenses as well. So by no means does a diopter replace a macro lens. It just doesn't. They're not really supposed to. It's just supposed to get you into that direction without having to bring another piece of glass, buy more gear, blah, blah, blah. They're just supposed to be tools for you to use accordingly. Now, I don't know why you would, but I guess you could also throw a diopter on top of this bad boy and get extremely close. I would need to bring more light in here, but I will. Maybe I'll try to throw on a +4 real quick and we'll see what we can get. This whole little +4 up there. I don't even know if my close focusing is probably, I'll try to keep it on these threads right here. I think that's maximum. All right, this is let's just do a +4. I honestly don't know. Boy, you can absolutely get absurdly close. As you can see in this, makes it very, very difficult to focus. But crazy dynamic shapes in there. I'll try to get back over here to these like sprockets, but really, really unique look. So to be honest, if you really wanted to get nasty with it, you throw some diopters on a macro lens. So again, these can be used for literally any lens. That's why we have so many different sizes. Now, some people have mentioned, can I use a smaller diopter on a larger lens? Well, obviously in post, you're gonna need to crop in quite a bit because you're gonna have a vignette of this and the distortion locked into a center point frame that you might not want. You can use bigger diopters on a smaller lens, but if my lens is out here and I use this is gonna be a very different look than the center point. So I'll let that be a judge, but Putting this on here is absolutely kind of insane and allows you to get like almost like microscopic, but again, you can use these for literally anything. I just wanted to kind of show you a side-by-side with these, and to my point, they do not replace a macro lens. And that's not a cheap gimmick to be like, hey man, buy these and you'll turn every lens into a macro lens. That shit is played out and that's not exactly what happens, as I've showed you in this whole video. What does happen is it allows you to get much closer, more dynamic shots, more character, evaluate what your social, like your specific spherical strengths are and your anamorphic strengths, and what your macro strengths are. So again, there's a lot at play, so many different scenarios and mix and matches you can use, but ultimately it's up to you to decide what you want to execute creatively. So, gonna wrap this up. I'll have some final thoughts. Let's do it. All right, so I'm gonna show you quickly a side-by-side of shooting this anamorphic lens on the table we'll kind of lock in on what the composition is gonna be, but I'm gonna do like the threads and the numbers. This is what it looks like on a macro lens, on the 100mm Canon macro lens. And then I'll show you what it looks like on, we'll just do the 35 to be honest, and show you what a wide angle would look like at like a +4, or we'll even do a +8. Okay, so now we got the 35mm anamorphic just with a +4 on. And you can see how much more is in this scene, obviously, than the 100mm that's like very, very tight on this sprocket. So again, this isn't nearly the same shot, but the versatility of using a +4, and I'm on a wide angle lens. This is a 35, basically a 20, because it's super 35, but that with a +8 here in a second, I'll show you how that compares. So let's go to a +8. And if I really wanted to get into it, I would do it like on a 50, an 85, all that stuff, but that would take forever. I'll let you guys be the judge of that. This is the +8 look, and I still think this looks really nice. I'll kind of angle down a bit. Let's see, it's kind of the same frame I had on the other one. So I still get much more in the scene versus just fully locked in on that. So this allows me to crop and post. Now I will switch lenses real quick and show you with the 65, and we're gonna get a lot closer to that macro lens than you think. So now you can see I've got the 65 on here, and this is gonna get us a lot closer to what that 100mm macro lens looks like, except this still allows us to have more in the frame and we're not quite as punched. Now again, if you wanna have that really punched frame, obviously you're tied to that 100mm macro. This, I was able to get several different shots seeing how I wanted to be closer and closer or further away. This adds a little bit more dynamic to it, so I'm not pigeonholed at 100mm. Now if I have the 100mm Blazar that I could also show you where we can get even closer. But again, I think this just lends itself to having more versatility and how these actually pan out to work in your whole entire workflow, whether you're DPing, assisting, doing photography, whatever that looks like. I think that you allow yourself to have a little bit more creative approach and dynamics in how that photo and the composition is going to lay out versus actually having to be punched in the entire time with the 100mm macro. So I really hope this was super informative and allows a lot more of the examples to breathe rather than confusing. But I did my best. There's so many ways you can go about it. And yeah, I'll have some closing thoughts for you. That's gonna kind of conclude this whole thing. I felt like I really needed to do a nerdy, in-depth approach. Shout out to the absolute GOAT for doing these type of YouTube videos, Blaine Westrop. I feel like I learn more from him every time I see his channel. I feel like an idiot, but I do think these things help a lot. And I really respect people who dive into that process and get more insight into the things that they think are valuable or they can teach people. I myself am like that, but I hope I didn't confuse people. I hope I broke it down. And ultimately the best judge of character and what you're wanting to use for these is just to get a set and play around with them yourself. See how they implement into your workflow, see how they help your process and not hinder it. It's so nice to have them in this pouch because I can zip this thing up, throw it across the room, throw it down the ledge. These aren't gonna break. And so very, very, very proud of these with Polar Pro. Just the way things are manufactured there, the way that we plan to put these out, the way that we implement the strengths in them, and how just the thought process and the attention to detail that goes into any product that I ever want to release. I'm very, very passionate about that, and I think you guys know that. It's not a one-off. It's not, this can make us a ton of money. There's a gap in the market. What is something that people feel like they could use and need? Not something that's just like, hey, it's a gimmick. Let's toss it on the camera, make some money. It's not that at all. If I don't use it, I'm not selling it. Same thing with like the preset stuff that I've built out and the teaching and like the base sets or anything like that. If I'm not using and I'm not proud to use it and it's not essential in my workflow, I'm not gonna sell it or advocate it to help other people. So anyway, I'll get off the soapbox, but I do love the shift diopters. As you can see, that's why they're called shift, because they completely shift your perspective once you are trying to use these on your lens, no matter what lenses you're using, if it's anamorphic, spherical, old glass. To be honest, I'll throw it on the Q3. I have a little 49 mil shift set. There is a macro mode on the Q3 and the Q2, but it can only get you so far, even on the 28 or the 43, but it is nice to even punch in a little bit further and just get details quickly on the go. Or from like, hey, I need quick product shots real quick, boom, boom, have it set, take it off, shoot the rest, bada bing, bada boom. So again, I hope this is very beneficial and educational as far as like why I came out with these and why I use them. And yeah, I kind of think that's it. I just wanted to take the time to be able to do this and break this down and kind of have like a little bit of intimate one-on-one to showcase why I do what I do. So I hope to be making more videos in this new year. I know I've said that before, but with everything going on in the agency and just my personal life and what we want to build, what Chelsea and I want to build, it's got to be impactful for me. It's got to be worth it. It's got to be something that I feel like has legs and can go the distance. So very passionate about that, but I do hope to come out with more YouTube videos in the new year and kind of go on from there. So until then, I hope you guys enjoy. Catch you on the next one.